Evening all, welcome to Dust, and today we're going to look at a pretty fun round actually. This was, I think this is actually the first of the new footage. I do apologise, I have a backlog, simple as that. I record everything I do, generally I do. I think there's a few rounds that I don't when they just turn into massive steaming piles of shash. I think I generally don't record them, but yeah, no, I think, to be honest, that enjoying the game. This is the militia event, I believe. I tried it for a bit, but just not bothered with it, to be honest. I know some of you are absolutely manic about like getting a gun named after you in a game that's about to be switched off, but hey, all power to you, bros. The reality of the whole kind of event thing for me was pretty disappointing, to be honest. I should have gone for it because I'd love to have had an Officer Flaylock named after me, but yeah, CCP seem to think that they reward somebody who gives a day worth of playing a gun name rather than somebody who's done over 1,000 videos on their game and advertised it and kept people playing it and made them a lot of money because I bring subs to their fucking game and then they get advertised, and then as I play it, people then think, this is a great game, let's go play it again. It's like, oh wow, Pirates is playing Dust, let's go play it again, and so on. Then thanks very much, CCP, go fuck yourself. I think that must be my tagline with CCP. I think they are just continually showing a complete lack of interest, respect, consideration to people who really support their game. Like CPM, you look at how badly they treated CPM 0. It was pretty bad when you think about it. I mean, they gave a huge amount of their time to fix their own game, and they got a lot of shit for it as well. CPM 0 got a huge amount of hate from all across, including myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to hide the fact that I didn't think they were very well supported. I thought a few of them were a bit nihilistic. I think a few of them really became armchair Hitlers, thinking that they had, quote, power. And I just generally think that that was a failed concept that seems to be being perpetuated. But hey, what do I know? So yeah, there we go. If you want a gun named after you, just come on, play really hard for a day or so, and you might get a gun named after you. And good luck to you, you bastard. Anyway, let's talk some more Dust. How many people just switched off? I'm not a bastard. To be honest, I think the reality is that this game is still incredible fun. I do really enjoy playing it. It's almost frustrating to a degree because I really shouldn't enjoy this game. Everything on paper, when you add it up, makes this game generally a massive steaming pile of shit. And yet, when you play it, there's something about it. It's got something, and I couldn't tell you what it was. Now, only a few thousand people ever saw what this little something was because a lot of people have logged in, created accounts, and left. I mean, there's a substantial amount of account farming going on. So the fact that there are 7.8 million Dust characters, I'm just going to let that sink in. That's more than Eve. 7.8 million Dust characters have been created because they're milking the ISK from the accounts. Let's not forget that. But I think there has been a good couple of 100,000 of players who've downloaded it, tried it, and then not played it anymore. So whatever it was that we enjoy, you and I, fair viewer who are watching this now, that is something we uniquely shared that lots of others didn't. I couldn't tell you what it was. I've always quite enjoyed the game. I thought it was a great run and gun game, but I would probably say if you kind of compared it to Battlefield 3 and such, it's not very Battlefield 4 rather. They just feel newer, and I think that is where a lot of people go. There is a lot of snobism as well when it comes to gaming generally. For example, if I tell people that I play certain games like Doom, that was a good one. Doom. When I played Doom for a little bit, I played the Brutal Doom pack, which is brilliant, by the way. You should definitely do that. People got a little bit hoity-toity about it because basically they were looking down their noses at Doom, which you cannot do. Doom is the definitive game, trust me. So I think it's a bit funny, really, that a lot of people are quite snobby about the games they play. So I think Destiny has caught a lot of people as well. I think people are playing Destiny because of peer pressure. That's a really sad part of gaming, but worthy of comment because I think if you go to the playground or the schoolyard, as you Americans would say, in the colonies, basically there's a lot of peer pressure to, I got a good engram gun, I got the best fit, I've got a fit that's better than yours, blah, blah. And it's becoming a little bit kind of worrying in a way because that seems to be a very nasty side effect of games like Destiny and all MMOs is this kind of peer pressure. So, try and avoid it if you can, because I don't think you should play a game because others are playing it and you want to be cool. Gaming is a hobby and an entertainment. It's not a status symbol. It's funny. I've had a few people contact me lately talking about YouTube in general, and you know what it means to be a YouTuber, and do I do this full time and all that. It's like, of course I don't. No way do I do this full time. It's like, no, not at all. You have to do these things as a hobby. I think gaming should always be a hobby, and you know, particularly I think the reasons we do videos of it is because, you know, and I've said this before at the start of the channel, let me just reiterate it. Eventually, in many decades to come, I'm going to be old and grey and sat in a wheelchair with, you know, a bag of piss to the side of my leg. It's a long story, and I want to be able to look back and say, wow, I did this and I did that, and yeah, I want this to be a permanent record of my gaming hobby. That's why I do it. I don't, you know, we don't advertise. We don't look to join managed content networks. We're not into that. We don't want to do it. We don't do it for the money. The money's shit as well, by the way. But we don't do it for anything really other than just the enjoyment of the game. And I think what's going to happen eventually in years to come, hopefully years to come, is dust will be switched off. Hopefully it stays on for as long as possible, but eventually it will be switched off and we'll move over to another game. And this game will be forgotten for a while. And then all of a sudden, the retro aspect of it will come out. So much like Battlefield 2142, which I hear is still played. But either way, you know, people will then say, God, I remember that game. And they'll look on YouTube and there it will be. It'll be a historic record of this game from start to finish. And I like that. I've always thought that that's quite an enjoyable part of the gaming experience, is where do we come from and where are we going? I certainly did that with Eve as well. When you look at my early Eve videos, I think they were from the dawn of time of Eve. I think literally I think my first video was 6 months after the game was released, which is awesome. It's like, that's well cool. The Battle of Zor, or the Fight of Zor, or whatever it was, Pirate Zor. I remember doing a video of that. And that was probably about 10 years ago, which is kind of sobering when you think about it. But I think certainly the reality is that, you know, games like this are fun. They should be enjoyed while they're still here as well, because I think the biggest reality is that this game is on life support. It is pretty much going to be replaced by Legion, and they've stated that is their intention, and that is currently what we believe to be the plan. For all we know, the reality is that it won't be. There's another deal in place that they're waiting to announce when the time's right. Who knows? But currently, that's what we are led to believe, so that's what we go with. My hope is that they make Legion an extension of Dust. It becomes on the PC and it becomes just a much more kind of wider open fun game, and I think the reality of that will be pretty cool. I think a lot of the time you find that there is a bit of uncertainty with gaming generally nowadays, because there is a real kind of you either thrive and survive or you get eaten up and killed by the competition, and I think that has to be the way forward. There's even a lot of uncertainty in YouTube as well because of things like Microsoft buying Minecraft. The vast majority of YouTube videos are about Minecraft, so the fact that a big corporate entity has now purchased that game IP has got a lot of people worried, because Notch let anybody monetize his stuff. Literally anybody could do it. With Microsoft, chances are they're not going to do that. Why would they? Because, you know, people are making millions and millions from Minecraft videos. So I think eventually there is a lot of uncertainty in the gaming world at the moment. And when you look at disappointments like Destiny, and you know, Destiny is fun, don't get me wrong, but the release of it has been a disappointment. For that much money, for that long to do, for what they released originally, for the apparent drama that seems to have gone on behind the scenes with their lead writer and music composer being fired and leaving retrospectively, you know, that has not really given much confidence that the gaming industry is going to make better games. You could almost say that because of the severity and the hype that they build around their games, AAA games mostly really, the reality is that they're just going to end up releasing long streaming piles of piss that don't really live up to what they are supposed to do. I'll give you Bioshock as an example. Bioshock was hyped like crazy, but it turned out to be an okay game. But it was certainly not System Shock 2. It was certainly not of the pedigree level that it was before, or other games that preceded it. So this is my kind of issue with it, because it does feel like there is a significant I guess weight upon gaming companies. So the hype around Legion is maybe a good thing, that there is none, because they're actually doing it secretly. I don't know. I mean, it could be that they're not even doing it. I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, they're probably taking the right course of action, because the worst thing you can do is hype a game, release it, and then it fails. And I think Dust was hyped a little bit much, you know, when you think about it, and it ended up being not a success as it should have been, which is, you know, a fair statement to say for it, because it is a good game. We could talk forever about this, but I think the reality is that it's not going to solve the problem that the industry seems to have, which is there's very few games being released that really do live up to, I think, the hype, that live up to the I guess the severity that people put upon them. So even games like Last of Us, I like Last of Us, it was a very good game, but if I'm honest, it was still overhyped. It was still not as good as you would expect it to be. Games like Destiny, I think, have kind of perpetuated this thing now that once you get hyped to, you're never going to experience the game. You know, imagine if, I mean, the thing is, let's imagine they release Destiny without any hype, and it'll be like, oh, all of a sudden, bang, there you go. Okay, they would never have sold as many games. And I think the reality is that because it was hyped, it was a warning bell to me to say that it wasn't going to be very good. And I was right. I was absolutely right. I was worried that every time a game gets hyped, it's because it's not very good. And I'll give you an example of Dead Island. Did you ever play Dead Island? The video that they released hyping that and little teaser was the most incredible games video I've ever seen. I bought the game on that video alone. And when the game came out, it was like being glassed in an alley by a drunk Glaswegian. It was terrible. And I was gutted because I felt I'd just been mugged. And literally, from ever since that point, I've been suspicious of hype. So when Destiny's hype videos started to come out, I remember thinking, this game, if they get it right, is going to be brilliant. And it turned out to be an absolute pile of shit. And I think that is kind of my issue with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still playing it, don't get me wrong. But the thing was, it was not what they said it was on the tin. They made out that this was a gaming genre changer. And the reality was, it was a very middle-of-the-road shooter. There we go, hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.